Terrifier may be one of the best horror movies of the last decade, but according to actress Corcoran, having to film Terrifier was the real horrific experience. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Entertainment. Today we're going to be talking about Corcoran, who is most known for her role as playing Dawn in the original Terrifier. But now she is coming out and she is suing Terrifier. She is suing the creator of Terrifier because she's claiming that she wasn't paid what is owed and alleging fraud and sexual harassment. So Catherine Corcoran has said she's not been paid in full yet for her role in Damien Leon's horror franchise, and she's claiming that she was promised 1% of profits generated from Terrifier, which would be a lot of money considering the series went on to be successful. Now, the first movie might not have made that much, but it did obtain an almost cult-like following, which allowed for a second movie to be created, and then Terrifier 2 did really well at the box office. So if she can indeed get the 1% that she claims was agreed on, she will make a lot of money. She claims that director Damien Leon and producer Phil Falcon have failed to pay out sufficient royalties, with her lawyer stating, quote, "This case presents an all too common story of low-budget film producers taking advantage of a young actress through fraud, sexual harassment, and ultimately betrayal," end of quote. Now, Corcoran had to appear in probably the most famous scene, I would argue, of the entire franchise. Now, I haven't seen Terrifier 3, but I think the one scene that everyone really remembers is her naked, being hung upside down by the ankles, and she literally gets sawed in half, female genitalia first. So basically gets sawed from the, that region, the down south region, through her head, which was a pretty insane scene. And to be honest, not something that we'd really seen before. Yeah, in horror movies you've seen guys maybe lose their nuts or something like that, or get castrated, but never really seen a woman have to endure that sort of violence. So, at the end of the day, it's a movie, it's fake, it's not real. If men can suffer insane, brutal punishments in movies, then I don't see why women can't, because equality, all that stuff. But she's claiming that she was not told before filming that she would be required to be nude for the scene, which is a violation of SAG rules, which state that prior written consent is required for nude scenes. Which, I'm not sure if that would be true. She agreed to do it either way. It doesn't seem legit to me that a producer and a writer is going to get someone to agree to do the movie, and then just before they do the scene, they're going to drop this bombshell on them that we need you to be naked without bringing it up before. And she claims that she wasn't told, but I think you would be told, because you would need to know if the person wanted to do it. Well, first of all, legally, you would need to tell them, but second of all, just wouldn't really make any sense to invest all that time and do all these other scenes, and then when it gets to the scene you want, they refuse, and all of a sudden you're at a standstill, and that kind of just completely stops production. And I guess, where do you go from there? Could you possibly get a stunt double, someone that is willing to go nude? Maybe, but that would be like a high budget movie. I think Terrifier 1 was made on 35,000, so I highly doubt they were going to get a stunt double in and have the trouble of switching the actresses up. But I did partly suffer with cranial swelling and eardrum damage due to being upside down for extended periods of time, and also blood pooling in her head. Her lawyers wrote in the filing, quote, "Were it not for Corcoran's willingness to take a risk on this production and receive her compensation on the back end, the series would not exist, as it could not have been made on a shoestring budget otherwise. However, when it came time to pay what she was owed, the producers chose to cheat her," end of quote. Now, an attorney for Leon and Falcone have said that, quote, Damien and Phil deny these claims in the complaint and will vigorously defend this lawsuit, end of quote. So it's just the familiar case of, a familiar story of he said, she said. So she's claiming that she wasn't told about this scene, she wasn't given a written contract to sign about being naked, and then she also says that she agreed and signed a deal for 1% of the profit generated from Terrifier, and they haven't paid up to that. Now that includes box office, streaming, live events, merchandise. That seems unlikely in my opinion, I think, for someone to agree to that. However, at the time, she was being paid $100 to shoot, which is, I believe, the minimum wage in acting. I think that is the minimum wage. $100 is the lowest you can get paid. So maybe in order to get the movie done, who knows? Maybe they did agree to pay her 1%. That could have been like their way of saying, look, we're going to pay you a really small amount in the meantime, but if you take a gamble and you work with us and the movie's a success, then you'll be a success and you'll make more money. So I do. It's unlikely, but I do see a scenario as to why they would agree to the 1% of profits generated. But I would imagine there's going to be contracts and stuff like that. So either way, I think we will get a conclusion here, and I imagine it's going to go to court. So we'll see, unless they decide to pay out of court. But if there's no evidence to back up what she's claiming, then I doubt they would do that. But maybe if she's willing to take a low amount in the settlement, they could do that. So who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But apparently she was filming, or not filming, sorry, she was on tour for Terrifier 2, and apparently she was doing lots of conventions with the crew and stuff like that. So if she never got paid, then why would she be there? Or possibly was it a 2-movie deal? That we don't know, but you know, this kind of sucks. I thought Terrifier was a pretty good movie, and I haven't really seen Catherine Corcoran in anything else, but she's pretty damn hot. So yeah, I might check her out. I might see what she's in, but hopefully, if she's telling the truth, hopefully she gets paid what she's owed, and if she's not telling the truth, then I hope she gets paid nothing, because at the end of the day, people make deals, people make agreements, and it sucks. It really does suck if you do something for a low amount of money and then it turns out to be really successful and you don't profit from that, but that's life, you know. Sometimes you can sell a property in life, you can sell something and you sell it at a really low value, and then the value of that item or property that you sold goes up, and it's just unlucky, you know. And that's the case sometimes with entertainment and movies. And even, I'm not going to get into Mia Khalifa, but I remember she made that big scandal up where she was a victim and all this. She agreed for a pretty low, well, it's not low, but I believe it was I think it was like £12,000. She agreed, or $12,000, something like that. And then obviously her videos, whatever you want to call them, they went on to be a mega success. And then it turns out that had she not just taken the lump sum up front, then if she took a percentage, or if she made the videos herself, she could have became a multi-millionaire easily, but she settled for the 12,000. So yeah, that kind of thing can happen. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think down below. Catherine Corcoran suing Terrifier. That's it. Till next time. Peace.